Hey everybody, it's Kathy Boyle, president of Chapin Hill Advisors. Today we're interviewing another member of our Circle of Influence. We've designed our Circle of Influence to allow you to find experts as you need them. Finding an expert when you need them, very often you're in a hurry, and making a mistake is really easy to do. That expert might be good at what they do or they might not, but they may not have the language and the personality that fits with your needs. So when you make a mistake with an expert, it's very expensive in terms of time and money. So our goal is to have you get it right from the get-go. So today we're interviewing Susan Ganz. She is president and founder of Ganz Strategic Solutions. So Susan, welcome.
Thank you so much, Kathy. It's a delight to be here.
That's great. We love having you here. So let's talk. I love your little phrase that you talk about where you are the WD-40 for corporations. So what does that mean?
So thanks for asking. So that really means that I help companies get unstuck, especially these days. I find with the pandemic, some companies don't know how to move in a different direction. How do they go to their next stage of growth? How do they diversify their revenue streams? And they don't know where to turn. So I show up as their business strategist and or strategic chief of staff person, as that right hand person, to help swoop in and figure out and diagnose what's happening, and understand what are they trying to achieve, where are they now, and then navigating them from here to where they want to go, clearing the roadblocks.
So give me an example. Let's talk about a client that you worked with, obviously keeping confidentiality in mind.
Sure. So currently I'm working with a client that would like to increase its recurring revenue streams and preparing to exit the business in a few years. And where we're starting from, most people might not think about, and that's really understanding what makes them different. What's their value proposition? What's their mission statement? What's their vision? And what values do they have for the company? And really sharing also the CEO story and the story of the company, because it's that emotional connection that makes that attraction to clients. And then it's about the strategy, the recurring revenue, and then it'll be about the tactics. But I always start with what's the vision and values and mission statement.
And just curious, do you bring in branding people and website design if they need it?
If they need it, sure. And that's where circle of influence comes in to bring about these other experts to the table.
Great. So now let's talk about your background. What prepared you to become this WD-40? What was your journey in your corporate life?
So, two things. Academically, I have a clinical psychology background, and I have my MBA in finance and strategic management. And I apply my what I operate at the intersection of business and human behavior. So, my corporate background is that I started my career as a commercial lender, and there I really learned how lonely it is at the top with the CEOs and CFOs of middle market companies that I worked with. And then from there, I wanted to solve bigger problems because I found that those C suite folks were sharing their business issues broader than financing. So I wanted to be a part of solving them for them. And that's why I decided to go to business school and career change to consulting. So from there, I worked for Ernst& Young, doing strategy consulting and corporate finance consulting. From there, I wanted to settle down with one company to impact strategy over time instead of going from company to company, and got an opportunity to go work on Wall Street in technology. I sort of fell into it. And in working on technology management, that's really where I got my experience doing change management, first in the vendor management space, and then in supporting investment bankers with their technology needs.
Got it. So you've told me one story where you were able to get huge buy-in that had failed for, can you give me the big picture on that one?
Sure. So that was to brand and automate how this particular investment bank did their pitch books. And I got handed this project after it failed 8 times prior. And I did not have any technology project management training formally. So the odds were stacked against me. But I leaned on psychology to figure out, well, why did this project fail 8 times? And the reason it failed was because the stakeholders weren't involved from the beginning, or if they were involved, it was at the very end after the project was built and it was rejected each time. So what I did was involve those stakeholders early and often, and had a conference to bring those key people from around the world into New York to align on the requirements high level. Then we built a prototype and had some branding designs and went on a roadshow, if you so to speak, to socialize them. And that's where we really got the stakeholders involved. And we also were involved with certain stakeholders on a weekly basis, multiple times a week, to get them aboard. And we wound up being very successful and implementing and saving that investment bank $12 million a year in productivity.
That's a big ROI. That's fabulous. I love it. I do find that with entrepreneurs, again, as you said, it's only at the top. Your employees are very often afraid to tell you what they really think because they're afraid they'll lose their job or that you'll get upset with them or you'll treat them differently. So I found that personally where people may have very good ideas, but they're afraid to come. And again, I'm a strong leader, strong person. So sometimes I'm very stubborn. And I think that's pretty much a trait of entrepreneurs. So I think the fact that they have sort of a safe place to be able to go to someone like you, an objective outside advisor who then has the ear of the founder or the CEO is really critical. So what types of industries that, are best suited for this, or what kind of number of employees or gross revenue? Who's the ideal client who would want to hire you?
So, good question. I find that what I do goes across industries. So I've had experience with manufacturers to professional service firms to technology firms, but it really is across the board. And for established companies, I tend to work with companies that have multiple seven figures in revenue. And I also work with well-funded startups because I find that when they're going from their, I'll call it infancy stage to their adolescent stage, they need some more structure and process and really need a right-hand person to move initiatives forward.
Great. All right, wonderful. And then how would I find you if I want to talk to you about my needs?
Sure. So you can find me at gansstrategicsolutions.com. You can email me directly at susan@gansstrategicsolutions.com. I also have a YouTube channel because I do a web show called Rest, and you can look me up at Ganz Strategic Solutions, or I invite people to connect with me via LinkedIn.
Terrific. We're delighted to have you in our circle of influence.